someone asks me, who am I may say that I am a BMI and V. What is this BMI? Is it body mass index? Because in modern world, BMI is body mass index. BMI is body, mind, and intellect. And V is Vasana. Every living being is endowed with three components. Three components are the body, mind, and intellect. It's called as BMI. The mind connects to the body through a layer called Panchaprana, five pranas, which keeps us alive. Intellect is a special function. Intellect is a special function of the mind with powers of discrimination and guides the mind. Intellect guides the mind. The non-living entities, they have just a body, a physical form. The plant kingdom has a fully developed body with traces of mind. The animal kingdom has fully developed body and also mind and traces of intellect. The humans only have all fully developed faculties available: the body, mind, intellect. With these three equipment, a person can interact with the external world. With the body, a person perceives the world objects and responds through physical actions. With the mind, a person feels emotions and responses are again emotions. With the intellect, a person thinks through the world of thoughts and likewise responds through thoughts. The basis for the interactions at the BMI level, what is the basics for the interactions at this level is Vasana. What is this Vasana? A symbol V. It is an unmanifested tendencies that synergize with karma. So as an agent of BMI and Vasana, there is an individual soul called Jivatma, which is pervaded and controlled by the God called Paramatma. The Jivatma, along with the equipment of the body, mind, and intellect, and also the basis of vasanas of the previous birth of the karma, function in the presence of and by the grace of Sriman Narayana, Paramatma. The influence of karma creates desires. The influence of karma, my karma, that creates desires in the realm of vasanas, which manifests as thoughts in the intellect, in turn exhibits in as emotions in the mind and displays actions in the body. Okay, now due to the power and nature of God, the jiva originates with a certain understanding or misunderstanding, whatever it is, and ignorance comes into the mind. The jiva comprises of the body, mind, and intellect and vasana. Instead of being endowed with the BMIV, in other words, the jiva comes to believe it is BMIV. Instead of saying that I have a watch, it keeps saying that I am the watch. This belief is called as ego. Ahankara stands for I. We have seen BMI, we have seen Vasana, and this is I, Ahankara. Once this Ahankara is removed, the Jiva realizes the true nature of Paramatma. Jivatma, and there is a relationship between Jivatma and Paramatma. Jivatma is completely dependent on Paramatma, just an instrument in the hands of God. All desires in vasanas are created by the karma influence purely and solely by the grace and will of the God. Even if I have vasana, that vasana comes into this birth by the grace of the God. Lord is the ruler and the jiva is being ruled. This is called realization. This is implied by the act of letting go the sense of doership. I am not the doer. And the jiva automatically surrenders completely to the protection of the Lord. So this is illustrated with an example that at the top it is the Paramatma, Ishvara, then it is the Jivatma, Chit. He is Ishwar, I am the Chit. Now this Jivatma, because of ignorance, Ahankara, this Ahankara, because of the Vasanas, also due to Vasanas or Ahankara, influences the Vasanas, Achit, and then it in turn influences the intellect, and the intellect, the thoughts, influences the mind, emotions, and then it also has a bearing on the prana, pancha prana, the vital air, and then the body, and body gives rise to actions. So basically, in the kingdom of jiva, who is the king? The king is the mind. The chief advisors are intellect, guiding and advising the king, though cannot issue any orders directly. The intellect cannot give orders directly. It is being influenced by the mind. What is the subject? Subjects are the body. So the cabinet and the executive ministers are the pranas, and they act as intermediary between the king and the subject. With this fundamental platform, let us take a look at a sambradayam. This is the nature of the jiva. Sambradayam, Alvar Sambradayam, is from the perspective of one who has dropped the ego or the ahankara. They completely revel in full realization and recognition of God's grace and glories, Irai Inbam, with a complete disdain of physical and mental intellectual needs. Since they are already in total service of the Lord and his devotees, they do not even have a desire for moksha. In this state, they have to they have absolutely no trace of I, the Ahankara. Everything is attributed to the God, and the God has the sole ownership of the entire world from a physical, mental, intellectual needs perspective. They will accept everything as the Lord's prasadam. In terms responses to this world of the body, mind, and intellect will act based on the accumulated vasanas, the karma phala. My karma is giving phala, karma phala. So all my mind, body, intellect, everything is influenced by the vasanas, purely under the will and wish of the God as a true instrument. For such a person, they do nothing and are ever absolutely steady, always at peace, happiness, and service to the Lord Kaingaryam. He is called as Siddhapragyan by Krishna. The Alvars narrate from a perspective of one who has the Ahankara completely removed, but identify themselves as the lowest of the devotees, barely deserving God's grace, showcasing utmost humility and a real role model. The sincere devotees of this Alvar Sampradayam naturally or through practice cultivate the discipline and submissiveness of the body, mind, intellect to surrender to the grace of the Lord. Prabhati or Saranagati. Surrender, total surrender. They see God's grace in everything, everything, and attribute everything to God's grace.